to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe in the studios of our flagship stations, 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV, on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99. We can also find us in the Birmingham-Bloomfield area on Birmingham Area Municipal Access and on City Cable 15 of Southfield. Join us live on Channel 10 in Waterford every day on the Media Network of Waterford, and live to tape on Channel 10 in Orion Township and Lake Orion on Orion Neighborhood Television, or ONTV. You can also find us on the radio in the Birmingham-Bloomfield area on 88.1 The Biff, a service of the Bloomfield Hills School District. Find us online on our Facebook pages at Civic Center TV 15 and at Lakes FM, on our website at civiccentertv.com, and on My Michigan TV or MyMy at mymytv.com. We can also learn more about downloading their free apps for your smartphones and smart TVs. All that information's on our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast. We can also find all of our programs on demand and find our interviews as well. Then let's head over to our news page, civiccentertv.com/local-news, where we have links to the most up-to-date information on COVID-19 from reliable expert resources at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, Georgia, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services in Lansing, Michigan, and the Oakland County Health Division in Pontiac, Michigan, so that you can stay up to date on everything that you need to know about the spread of COVID-19, precautionary tactics you may need to employ in your life, such as masking and social distancing, as well as vaccinations and booster shots. Also on our news page, we feature articles from many journalistic outlets across the state of Michigan to keep you updated on COVID-19 and other stories making headlines all throughout the Great Lakes state. Our top story today from Mike Wilkinson of Bridge, Michigan, is their coronavirus tracker, where hospitalizations have fallen to 973, driven by declines right here in Metro Detroit. Hospitalizations in Michigan, of course, dropped to 973 patients on Monday from 998 on Friday, and the recent peak of 1,168 that was marked on May 23rd. Though most of the decline was in hospitals in Oakland, Macomb, and St. Clair counties, other areas reported slight increases, including a region that stretches from the Thumb through Bay City and up Lake Huron's coast. The region's hospitals are now treating 138 COVID-19 positive patients, equal to the peak last reported on Wednesday. Central Michigan hospitals have 94 patients, the highest in the current surge that began in mid-April. Those numbers, though, are still significantly less than patient counts in January, as Omicron flooded the state. The hospitals in Metro Detroit's 6 counties are now treating 533 COVID-19 positive patients compared to 2,978 on January 10th. Michigan only reports cases and deaths on Wednesdays, but does report hospitalizations 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, as they previously had done for both hospitalizations and for case counts. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention also shows average daily COVID-19 admissions in Michigan have fallen 16% from 191 on May 22nd to 160 on Monday. Lastly, making headlines on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page from the Detroit News' Jennifer Chambers. A temporary Oxford High School shooting memorial has pitted students against the school's officials. Raina St. Juliana looks at the photograph of her younger sister, Hannah, and sees her beautiful face smiling back and her hands holding a bundle of lavender, one of the 14-year-old's favorite flowers. Raina, 17 years old, does not see how this photograph, a part of the planned temporary memorial inside Oxford High School for Hannah and other victims of the November 30th, 2021 school shooting, could trigger trauma, or why it should be placed in a school theater where most students won't see it. For months, Raina and dozens of other students at Oxford have battled with the district and school board officials over what temporary memorial for Hannah St. Juliana, Madison Baldwin, who is 17, Justin Schilling, also 17, and Tate Meir, 16 years old, who were all killed in the attack, should contain, and where that memorial should be located. Quote, "They keep saying a photo of them is triggering, that Hannah's, Justin's, Madison's, and Tate's faces are triggering," in closed quote, said Raina, a junior at Oxford High School, continuing on. Quote, "That is not the reason why kids can't walk in that building. It's not their smiles. The kids don't want to walk those hallways because their school was shot up and they experienced something that someone should never have had to experience," end closed quote. Heated and emotional exchanges between students and school officials, including a school board member characterizing outspoken students as quote unquote disrespectful, and students accusing school officials of hiding the tragedy, culminated last month in the board's decision decision to put a temporary wall memorial inside the high school where a teen gunman carried out Michigan's deadliest school shooting. As a result, Oxford may be the first school district in the nation to hang a memorial inside a school where a mass shooting took place. The Michigan district consulted with U.S. schools where mass shootings also occurred, where memorials were located outside of the building or outside the school away from the main entrance. This is what mental health experts are saying. Mental health experts said memorials to honor victims and survivors of mass violence incidents are extremely important to remember and pay tribute to the devastating impact on and losses endured by victims, survivors, first responders, and their communities. Not agreeing about a memorial after a school shooting or violent incident is common, says Kathy Kennedy Payne, who chairs the crisis response team for the National Association of School Psychologists and works with students in schools to help them recover after shootings. Kennedy Payne was part of the mental health team at Thurston that made recommendations on memorializing victims of the May 21st, 1998 school shooting at Thurston High School in Springfield, Oregon. A student gunman killed 2 students and injured 25 others in that massacre. Quote, "We have to ask, why would students want a memorial?" End close quote, Kennedy Payne said, continuing on, saying, quote, "We have learned over the years from school shootings and grief, it has several purposes. It allows people to express their grief and come together and share that common emotion. It allows students to take an active role in the grieving process, and maybe they have a sense of hope that it's part of the recovery process." End closed quote. This is how the district made its decision on the temporary memorial. In a May 6th email to Oxford families, the superintendent Weaver had said that the district consulted with other schools that have faced a similar tragedy and mental health experts who specialize in trauma recovery. Oxford school officials were told a memorial that contains images of the victims, quote, tends to invoke a stronger emotional response from the viewer. Memorials that focus on abstract representations of the victims' lives, hearts, names, initials, etc., bring about a response without the strong emotions that an image may cause, end closed quote, he said in an email. The district was advised it was best to locate the memorial outside of the school to allow access at all times, Weaver said. Quote, "None of the schools that we contacted have memorials inside of the school due to concerns about safety and the well-being of all students. Some memorials have not been located on school property at all, while some memorials have been located outside on school property," end close quote, his email also stated. Discussions about a permanent memorial will also get underway this summer by a soon-to-be planned committee that will consist of students, parents, families, school staff, and community members, Weaver said. But that permanent memorial will not be located inside the building, and the temporary memorial will come down at some point, he said. Quote, "It will be outside of the school grounds or located out in the community, not in the building," Weaver said of a permanent memorial. A banner in the gym with the names and hearts for the victims with no photos is also expected to go up this summer, according to the superintendent. A proposal for a school courtyard with remembrances and gardens is still being developed with student input, he wrote. Quote, "We love the 4 children and families greatly. We will never know their pain, and we are doing our best," end close quote, said Weaver, the superintendent. On the initial controversy, a little more than a month after the shooting, Oxford students and families of the victims became upset in January when the impromptu outdoor memorial on school grounds was dismantled with less than a week's notice. Many students remained dissatisfied with a few days left in the school year, the last day of school being this week Friday, and there is no memorial to the victims inside their school. Jace McCarthy, who graduated from Oxford High School last month, has spoken to the board about what he considers the need for the memorial to be inside the school with input from students and families of the dead. Quote, "The Performing Arts Center, it's hidden off. What I don't like about it is that all the stuff that kids didn't pick up after the shooting is in bags there. It's a forgotten area," end close quote, McCarthy said. McCarthy is among a group of Oxford students and graduates who are now putting their time and energy into advocating for a memorial for the student victims in the nearby village of Oxford, about 2 miles from the high school grounds. Quote, "The village council is having a meeting about the memorial. I am tired of fighting with the school board of education. A lot of students are," end close quote, said McCarthy. This brings up the question, does a one-size-fits-all tribute work? Kennedy Payne says it's a challenge to design a memorial that meets the needs of every group affected by a school shooting: students, staff, families, parents of the deceased, and the community. It's important to students to have a voice in what it looks like and where it's located, she said. In Oregon, it looks like it took 5 years for the community to approve a permanent memorial for the students in the shooting at Thurston High School, Kennedy Payne said. A memorial park at Thurston High School is located outside on the school grounds, away from the main front entrance. It includes a memorial wall, a garden, benches, and an inscription plaque with the date of the shooting. It does not, however, contain photographs, but identifies the 2 victims by name and says 25 others were injured. Quote, "It's a nice acknowledgement of the support the community provides and the students whose lives were lost. It is maintained by the district and the school board approved it," and close quote. Kennedy Payne said, continuing on in her statement, quote, "It took 5 years. It's a very, very emotional process to develop a permanent memorial. Temporary memorials can be serving as a bridge until permanent ones are created," she also said, quote, "The important thing in making those decisions is the memorial is serving a purpose for the staff, students, the community, and more to help them grieve and help them with recovery. Kids need a visual memory. It makes sense if we go back to our tradition of how we bury people in cemeteries. We create monuments. We have places where we honor and recognize our loved ones who pass on. It's a very natural thing," end closed quote. That full article, and we presented you maybe half of that article at most, is extensive. There's so much more detail in there, so many more things considered, so many more students and faculty and community members that were spoken to by Jennifer Chambers of the Detroit News, who authored this article. Linked on our website, civiccentertv.com/local-news. While you're over there, while you're reading these articles and other articles from this week's editions of the Megacast, we highly encourage you, if you have the means to do so, to subscribe to these publications and support journalism all across the Great Lakes state. Again, all those articles on our website, civiccentertv.com/local-news, as well as those ever helpful links to accurate and up-to-date information on COVID-19 from the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great program ahead on this Tuesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Coming up, we'll speak with Lucy Hale from the Michigan Science Center, followed by Derryl Reed from the West Bloomfield Township Social Justice Committee. That's all up next on the Oakland County Megacast.
A message from the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here
for you. Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation. Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crime-victim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanting to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
As partners working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is the source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
If you are struggling to afford internet service for your household, there is a new government program that may be able to help. It's called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and it provides up to a $30 monthly discount to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll at fcc.gov/ACP or call toll-free at 877-384-2575. That's 877-384-2575.
The Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission has more information. Visit gwbcable.org. Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. To learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com on our Megacast page, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Summer is a fantastic time to catch a movie, and there's truly no movie-going experience quite like that of viewing a movie in an IMAX theater. Joining us now on the program is Lucy Hale, the Chief Business Officer at the Michigan Science Center, whose IMAX theater is set to reopen this month. Lucy, thank you for being with us.
Oh, thanks so much, Tyler, for having me on. It's great to be here.
Yeah, good to have you with us. So tell us about the grand reopening of the IMAX Dome Theater at the Michigan Science Center. When is it happening, and what are some of the movies that will be available to see at the Michigan Science Center?
Yeah, so we are reopening it to the public on June 15th and for our members this weekend. And then there's a big press event on the 9th, on Thursday, where we'll do a ribbon cutting and we'll welcome everyone back to the theater. We were very fortunate to have Magna come in and help us with our seats and to redo our seats after our sewage infiltration event last summer that happened after the rains. And so that was really the thing that we had to get finished so that we could reopen the theater. And it's been completely recarpeted and repainted and re-drywalled and everything as well. So it does feel like a brand new theater when you walk into it. And it has that wonderful new smell. So that's great. And we're opening it with two films. So one is Asteroid Hunters, which is an IMAX film about people who seek and study asteroids that could potentially be a threat to life on Earth as we know it. And the other is actually a laser show. We have the ability to do laser shows in our IMAX, and it's called Laser Movie Madness, and it is featuring songs from some of our favorite films, Star Wars and Jurassic Park and Back to the Future and some other great films of the 80s and 90s that people will remember, and it's super fun.
We're joined by Lucy Hale, the Chief Business Officer at the Michigan Science Center, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. And so you mentioned some of the changes that happened due to the necessity after the flood last summer during those heavy rainstorms. What other experiential changes have been made at the IMAX theater to add to that experience? I mean, in and of itself, viewing a movie in an IMAX format is its own experience, but so much of the attraction of the theater, especially today with the competition with streaming, is about that experience you get in the theater itself viewing these movies. So what changes have been made?
Right. Well, first of all, this wasn't so much a change, but because our IMAX is a dome theater, and it is, it is actually, I think, the oldest dome theater, IMAX dome theater in existence still. It is an immersive experience. So you're surrounded by the sound and you're surrounded by the images. So you really feel like you are in the movie, and it's quite an amazing experience. I think, going to a movie theater is a lot of fun, but it's on a flat screen usually. And so to be surrounded by the film is something that is unique to this kind of a space that we have at the Michigan Science Center. And then the other things that happen, the biggest new thing are the seats, which Magna helped us with using their freeform technology. And so these seats first of all, they're beautiful. And they really give you a sense that you're getting into like a captain's chair to go on an adventure somewhere. but they're also incredibly comfortable. They're probably the most comfortable IMAX seats I've ever sat in. And so you really feel, you can sink in and you can really enjoy your time in the theater. And so I think that those are the things that folks will notice the most. The colors have also changed, so it's a little bit calmer and more soothing with the color scheme we went with some beautiful blues. And then we did have the opportunity to clean and do some refurbishment on our dome. So that is also, it will look very refreshed for folks that were in it maybe a couple of years ago. It will look brand new, the dome, even though it isn't brand new. It's just newly cleaned. And cleaning the dome is really kind of a cool experience. We got some photos and films of it because the folks fly in from other parts of the country to do it. It's a very specialized skill, and it really looks amazing.
We're joined by Lucy Hale, the Chief Business Officer at the Michigan Science Center, joining us on the Megacast. More information can be found on their website, mi-sci.org. That's mi-sci.org for more information, including on their IMAX theater. And so you have these experiences coming up. Grand reopening is later on this week, at the time that you and I are speaking live. The grand reopening to the general public is on June 15th. You have a couple of shows you've already mentioned that are going to be showing at this IMAX theater in the upcoming period. But going forward, what are some other planned shows or movies that may be available in the coming months over at the IMAX theater?
Yeah, well, we're not quite ready to announce anything yet, but we're looking at we have some films that we're sort of narrowing in on for the next school season. So for the fall and for the spring, and we're going to be doing some discussions with our teaching staff to just sort of make sure that we're really connecting those to the curriculum and really making selections that teachers will respond well to and be excited to bring their students to. In our IMAX theater, because of the immersive nature of it, it is really fun to do films that take you to different places, take you to different environments and ecosystems, to the rainforest or deep in the ocean, or even to outer space, like our Asteroid Hunters film. And so those are the types of films that we're going to be focusing on for the theater. And then we'll also be doing some fun laser shows for adult audiences too, probably starting later this summer, in the evenings, in late July and into August. And so those will be great if you're in downtown or midtown and you're looking for something fun to do maybe after dinner or before dinner. That's a great experience to have.
And so how does this IMAX theater experience, and that includes the films that you're showing in the theater at this time, how does that add to the goal experience of the Michigan Science Center and add to everything and every other program that is there in that really immersive experience that you have at the Michigan Science Center?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, our museum really puts our guests at the center of science and really creates an awesome destination for STEM and for science engagement. And so when you think about our exhibits, we have some really wonderful exhibits about physics that are super hands-on. You can build a paper airplane in the STEM playground. You can experience color and light and sound waves on the lower level. We have the Earth, Wind, and Weather Gallery, which is all about, weather phenomena and climate. And then, of course, we have a lot of exhibits that relate to our automotive industry, which are really interesting and very hands-on and engaging. But we don't have a whole lot of exhibits that take you and talk about biology and life science. And so our theater experiences, especially in the IMAX theater, it's a way for us to bring in that content that still immerses people into the content and gives people the opportunity to feel like they're being transported and traveling to that actual place and location. The other thing too is because it is such a big building, when you're walking around and you're experiencing all the exhibits, you sometimes just need a break. And so it gives people, especially with families, and you might have kids or folks who are a little bit older that just sort of need some time to sit down and rest. It gives you a moment of respite to sort of have 30 minutes, 40 minutes where you can sit in a beautiful, comfortable theater and have this great experience, and then talk about it afterwards as a family or as a class. And so that's, for us, that's also really important.
And so you mentioned that some of these experiences are about 30 to 40 minutes in the IMAX theater. Is that about average for these two current productions that will be in there, the Asteroid Hunters and the laser show, or is there a difference between the two of them, just so that there's some reference out there for those that may be interested?
Yeah, our laser show, I believe, is 30 minutes, and Asteroid Hunters is 45 minutes.
Okay.
And it is, it doesn't feel like 45 minutes. You watch it and you can't believe that much time has gone by, because it is so engaging and it's such an exciting and relevant content topic, especially right now. We did have a couple of asteroids that came pretty close to Earth in May, and so I think it's top of mind for everybody. But it is, that's generally the amount of time that we try to have in that particular space. Our other theaters, our planetarium and our Toyota 4D engineering theater, those shows are more like 20 to 30 minutes. And we try to bring content in that would be for, especially for our school audiences, that would be for, kindergarten to second grade, in those spaces in particular.
We're joined by Lucy Hale, the Chief Business Officer at the Michigan Science Center, joining us on the Megacast. More information can be found on their website, mi-sci.org. That's mi-sci.org for more information. Lucy, I would imagine that's also one of the places that people can go if they're interested in tickets to any of these upcoming shows at the IMAX Theater at the Michigan Science Center. Of course, they'll have to wait, unless they're members of the Michigan Science Center, until June 15th. But how can they get tickets if they aren't going to be able to do so online?
Yeah, so you can just go right onto, and when you come into the museum, if you don't want to go online to buy your tickets, we do recommend going online to do that, just so that we can ensure that you will get tickets. But if you want to just come in, and you can purchase your tickets at our box office, and you can purchase the theater tickets right there, if you want to do that. And the shows that we have right now are $6 per ticket for our IMAX shows, and that's on top of our admission price, so it is super affordable. And so, like I said, I do recommend going online to buy our tickets, and we do have packages online. So if you want to bundle your tickets, you can get a discount for doing, a couple of different experiences with us. So that also kind of makes it worthwhile to do that in advance.
Yeah, always a good time over at the Michigan Science Center. So much interesting exhibits and interesting things to learn, interactive ways to learn as well, not just for parents and for families, but really for people of all ages. What are some of the other interesting and fun activities and exhibits that are currently on display at the Michigan Science Center?
Yeah, well, one of the really fun experiences, just to mention it because it is something that people will remember from the IMAX, is of course the Rainbow Escalator. And so when you come out of the IMAX, you can go up that Rainbow Escalator. It's such an iconic piece for us at the Michigan Science Center. But then that will take you right into Earth, Wind, and Weather, which is an exhibit that we opened last year, which is about weather phenomena, tornadoes, clouds. You can see how a cloud forms. You can experience a small tornado. And you can do different activities that really talk about Earth science. And so that's a really fun and engaging exhibit, and that's one of our permanent exhibit galleries. And then if you go all the way up to our 4th floor, to our science hall, we have a temporary exhibit called Popnology, which is there through August 11th. And that exhibit is included with admission to the Science Center, and it really focuses on the intersection of science, technology, pop culture, and Hollywood. And that exhibit is really fun. And we hope folks come out to see that this summer. And then, of course, we have our STEM playground on the 1st floor. We have our science stage where we do wonderful shows a few times a day with our education staff. And then we have our light play and color gallery downstairs on the lower level as well. And we have on the lower level for younger children, Kidstown is still unfortunately closed, but we do have a small temporary early childhood space, which really focuses on playful learning and engaging, all generations around learning. And then right next to that is the Spark Lab, which is part of our Smithsonian affiliation. And Spark Lab has wonderful, hands-on activities that change out on a pretty regular basis that are really around making and tinkering and engaging with science that way.
Lucy, we know that COVID-19 is not as severe of a factor in everyday life as it has been over the past several months and certainly over the past couple of years. But how is COVID-19 currently affecting operations at the Michigan Science Center, both for those that are working there every day, but also for those that are visiting and patronizing your organization?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for us as staff, we have decided to remain masked when we're in public spaces and in shared areas behind the scenes, just to keep ourselves as protected and safe as possible. We know that this virus will be with us for the long haul, and it will constantly mutate and change. And some variations will be, more severe than others. And we don't want anybody to get, horribly sick if we can help it. And so we also encourage our staff to get vaccinated. And we message that to the public too. Folks are not required to be vaccinated or to wear masks at the museum, but we do strongly recommend both to keep ourselves as each other as protected as possible. Fortunately, many people that get this virus, it is mild, but for many people it's not. And I think many of us have experienced it recently, and it's been a pretty rough ride for those of us that have had it this past spring. And museums and organizations across the country, and we're no different, are experiencing staff shortages, and sometimes that's because a lot of people might be out sick at the same time. Luckily, we have not had that happen with us, and I'm going to knock on wood that we don't have that happen with us, but we know friends in the museum industry have had to shut down for a couple of weeks at a time because so many of their staff have gotten sick. And then, we don't have animals at the Michigan Science Center, but many of our science museums and our partners like the zoo do, and their animals can get sick too. And so that's been a big concern in the industry as well.
Lucy, just another couple minutes with you before we'll say goodbye. Anything else we haven't touched on today regarding the reopening of the IMAX Theater at the Michigan Science Center, or any other activities and exhibits that are there that you would like to talk about today?
No, I think just thanks so much for having me. And if folks, if you want to get your tickets or look up show times, please go online. Everything's up there, and we can't wait to see you all this summer. Lucy,
thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thanks. Have a good one.
More information always on the website, mi-sci.org. We're going to take a break on the Megacast. When we return, we'll explore how one local community will be commemorating Juneteenth in just a couple of weeks. That's up next on the Oakland County Megacast.
If you are struggling to afford internet service for your household, there is a new government program that may be able to help. It's called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and it provides up to a $30 monthly discount to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/ACP, or call toll-free at 877-384-2575. That's 877-384-2575.
The Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission has more information. Visit gwbcable.org.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
It's the Great Lakes water. And so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes. They stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. To learn more about the program by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll also find more information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV, which includes information on their website about where you can find us on demand, as well as find all episodes of the Megacast and other original programming from My, and information on downloading their free apps for your smartphones and your smart TV so that you can take My Michigan TV content, including the Oakland County and Michigan Megacasts, with you everywhere that you go. Of course, now we are joined on the Megacast by Derryl Reed. He is the fundraising chairperson for the West Bloomfield Township's Social Justice Committee and joins us now on the Megacast. Derryl, thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, Tyler. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning.
Yeah, glad to have you on. So first off, can we talk about the West Bloomfield Social Justice Committee? How did this committee form? When did it form? And what's some of the work that it is doing right here in West Bloomfield?
Well, the West Bloomfield Lake Social Justice Committee, which is chaired by Amy Mandel, was formed a few years ago with the purpose of bringing different cultures within the West Bloomfield Lakes area together, and to highlight those cultures and to plan programs of cultural diversity and social justice. So we try and work with all cultures and all religious groups in the area.
So coming up in just a couple of weeks, on Saturday, June 18th, it's going to be the second Juneteenth event in West Bloomfield. It's a celebration commemorating Juneteenth. And for those that aren't familiar with the holiday, can you give us some information on the background of Juneteenth and why this is such an important day to be celebrating here in the U.S.?
Sure, actually. Juneteenth is a federal holiday that commemorates the emancipation of enslaved African Americans that was created in 1865 when Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. It's also an opportunity to celebrate the cultural contributions of African Americans to our country in every field of human endeavor, the arts, the sciences, military service. In fact, some contributions, Dr. Daniel Hale Williams performed the first successful open heart surgery in the hospital in which I was born in Chicago. You had Charles Drew, who created blood plasma that has saved millions of lives around the world. You have Garrick Morgan, who created the gas mask, as well as the first 3-light traffic light signal. So African Americans have been making contributions to our country for centuries. And African American slaves built the White House where the president resides. So we try and celebrate and acknowledge the contributions of African Americans to our country. And that's combined in Juneteenth, which was first celebrated in 1865 in Texas. So that's sort of the historical background on Juneteenth.
So in West Bloomfield, this celebration, this is the second time that's happened in West Bloomfield. The first was a year ago. When did the discussions on having an event to specifically commemorate Juneteenth in West Bloomfield begin, and just how much involvement from the community is there in making this celebration truly a celebration of Black history and American history that is rooted in Juneteenth?
Well, it's very interesting. The first annual event, we probably put that together in about 6 weeks. The committee decided that would be an excellent opportunity to celebrate cultural diversity within West Bloomfield. And the Social Justice Committee will be having other events coming up in the months and years ahead, acknowledging and celebrating many different cultures. The event itself is open to the public. It's a free event, free parking, free admission, free refreshments while they last. And also we're expecting donations if people would like to make those. It's a rain or shine event. If it's sunny and bright, the event will be held outside in the parking lot of the West Bloomfield High School. If it is raining, we'll take it inside the school. So the event will be held on June 18th, as you have mentioned.
More information can be found on JuneteenthWB.org. That's JuneteenthWB.org to learn more information about the event, how you can participate, as well as how you can get involved with the West Bloomfield Social Justice Committee. Its next meeting actually is the day of this interview, today, June 7th, 2022. Info at JuneteenthWB.org for more information on how you can participate in this discussion on further social justice issues in the West Bloomfield area, as well as planning for events such as the upcoming Juneteenth event, which again, that is going to be Saturday, June 18th, 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at West Bloomfield High School, rain or shine. If it's raining, it'll be inside. If it is a sunny, beautiful day as it was a year ago, then it will be outside at West Bloomfield High School. And so what are some of the activities and what are some of the opportunities for learning that will be available at this Juneteenth event at West Bloomfield High School?
Well, the event is packed full of activities and events for families and children. We'll have Pastor John Tolbert, the Trinity Missionary Baptist Church, do the invocation. We'll have trumpeter Quincy Stewart. We'll have storytelling, libation ceremonies. We'll have the president of Henry Ford Health Hospital as one of our speakers. Shannon Johnson, the president of Henry Ford Health Center. Tuskegee Airmen, speech Major Burnett. We'll have children's storytelling. We'll have an African dance troupe there. There'll be an a cappella choir performing, the West Bloomfield High School jazz band, Motor City Dance Factory, drama performances. Rick Williams will be our DJ and MC, and we'll also have cars on display. The Roadmasters Corvette Club Classic Corvette cars. That's really something to see. There'll be children, games, activities, painting, and a lot of other things. And as you mentioned, for full details, you can go to our website, www.juneteenthwb.org, for complete details on the entertainment activities that will be provided.
You can also get involved in the Social Justice Committee in West Bloomfield and their work and support, of course, the planning of the Juneteenth event this year and in the future as this becomes a tradition in West Bloomfield on their website also, juneteenthwb.org. That's juneteenthwb.org. Again, the Juneteenth in the WB event happening Saturday, June 18th, 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at West Bloomfield High School. Rain or shine. If it's raining, it'll be indoors. If it is sun shining, it'll be out. It'll be outside, plenty of activities, fun for a lot of people, and a great learning opportunity, a great community event that you can learn more about, again, at juneteenthwb.org. And so these are some crazy times that we're living in. Of course, there's been so much tragedy that's happened lately and so much controversy on a number of different topics in the news. And so will this event be a safe event, Derryl?
Yes, this will be a very safe event. We have a good relationship with the West Bloomfield Police Department and the Fire Department. In fact, police officers will be on site. We will be inspecting packages and bags that people have. We suggest that people wear a mask if they're so inclined to prevent the spread of the COVID vaccine, COVID disease. And also the fire department is only about a block away. So there will be police coverage. People should feel very safe attending this event.
More information can be found on the website, juneteenthwb.org. That's juneteenthwb.org. And so if people do want to get involved in the Social Justice Committee in West Bloomfield, of course, we've given some information on how they can get involved online and help with the Juneteenth event. What are some other tasks that are being undertaken by the Social Justice Committee, and how can people in West Bloomfield or in communities that are adjacent to West Bloomfield get involved if they would like to help these causes?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because there are opportunities for volunteers to support us and work on this event and other events that we'll be having in the future. And you can get that information on our website that you have mentioned before. And we're looking for people to come out. We're looking for volunteers. We're looking for camaraderie among people in our community as well as surrounding communities. And we celebrate all cultures and diversity within West Bloomfield and the surrounding Oakland County area.
So, to touch on that, you mentioned the diversity of the West Bloomfield area. There are so many different cultures, religious backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, and so on in the township and really in the greater community around West Bloomfield Township. How does that speak to why this event is being held in West Bloomfield and why your committee put this event together in West Bloomfield to commemorate this holiday?
Well, West Bloomfield, as you know, is culturally rich in religion and culture. And West Bloomfield has been a very enjoyable place for people to live. I've been here since 1994. As we talked about, this is being overseen by the Social Justice Committee. And I would also like to thank the Charter Township of West Bloomfield for the issuing a proclamation about this event, which was offered by Trustee Manna and supported by Trustee Weingarten, which reads in part, for a small portion of it, whereas since then, As the oldest known celebration commemorating the end of slavery in the United States, the tradition of celebrating Juneteenth has remained strong well into the 21st century to recognize the triumph of the human spirit over the cruelty of slavery, to honor the strength, endurance, and faith of the African American community. So we thank the Charter Township of West Bloomfield for that proclamation.
Again, more information can be found juneteenthwb.org. That's juneteenthwb.org for more information on this event and how you can participate. Again, that event is Saturday, June 18th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at West Bloomfield High School. It'll be outside unless it's raining, in which case the festivities will take place indoors at West Bloomfield High School. So rain or shine, Juneteenth in WB, that celebration for the second annual event will be going on Saturday, June 18th, 10 to 2 at West Bloomfield High School, located on Orchard Lake Road in West Bloomfield. Derryl, just another couple minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else on the Juneteenth event or other efforts of the Social Justice Committee that people should be aware of, or other information we haven't talked about today that would be important for our audience to consider?
Well, I'd like to thank our sponsors and the companies in the West Bloomfield area making contributions, in-kind services. There's a long list of them, which again is on our website. I won't have time to mention all of them today, but we're very thankful for our sponsors for helping to make this event possible. Also, it is a free family event. We're looking for families to come out. There's activities for kids, there's music, there's entertainment, there's art, there's vendors. And keeping with the theme, there are a number of African-American vendors who will be providing products and services for the attendees. So we're very happy and proud of this event. And we look forward to your listeners and friends coming out to enjoy the event and have fun. It will be very safe to attend it. We're looking for a great day, and we thank you for giving us this opportunity to talk about the Juneteenth celebration.
Derryl, thank you very much for joining us and telling us about the celebration. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Tyler.
Again, more information can be found on juneteenthwb.org. The event is Juneteenth in the WB, Saturday, June 18th, 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at West Bloomfield High School. Rain or shine. If it's raining, it's indoors. Otherwise, it's outside at West Bloomfield High School, 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Saturday, June 18th. More information, once again, juneteenthwb.org. We're going to take a break on your radio homes for the Megacast, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills, as well as the remainder of our network. On the other side, when we come back, we'll kick off the Michigan Megacast talking about fire safety and home safety with Dave DeBoer from the West Bloomfield Fire Department. That's up next on the Megacast.
If you are struggling to afford internet service for your household, there's a new government program that may be able to help. It's called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and it provides up to a $30 monthly discount to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/ACP or call toll-free at 877-384-2575. That's 877-384-2575.
The Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission has more information. Visit gwbcable.org.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
If you are struggling to afford internet service for your household, there's a new government program that may be able to help. It's called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and it provides up to a $30 monthly discount to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll at fcc.gov/ACP or call toll-free at 877-384-2575. That's 877-384-2575.
The Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission has more information. Visit gwbcable.org.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
But we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
the leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior. These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance. They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different. One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games? Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate. So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
Welcome to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. To learn more about the program by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com and clicking on our Megacast link, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. The summer season is when us Michiganders go outside and enjoy the sun, grill some chicken or burgers, celebrate America, and have fun out on the water. With that fun, however, comes a number of hazards and a lot to consider to keep yourself, others, and your home safe. Joining us now is Dave DeBoer, Deputy Fire Marshal in West Bloomfield Township. Dave, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, thanks for having us, Tyler. We're happy to be here.
Appreciate having you on. So you're outside at your grill as this is the grilling season in West Bloomfield, in the state of Michigan. People are going to be outside. They're going to be grilling at their homes. But there are some common mistakes that are made that can be very hazardous, not only to the person that's operating the grill, but to the home and everyone inside as well.
That's true. And we're glad that you were able to have us on today to discuss that. We got the grill here. We've already seen a fire over the weekend caused by a grill, just a week into the grilling season, and already we've had somebody have a fire by using a grill inappropriately. So remember, if you have a grill that's propane or natural gas driven like this grill here at the fire station, you want to use those fuels for it. Don't try to substitute another fuel. Don't put charcoal into a gas grill. Don't put wood into a gas or charcoal grill. They're not designed for it. They're designed to be used specifically with the fuel that they have. This one's natural gas. We have the shutoff behind it. It's easy to get to. It's something we can access and turn off if something goes wrong. One very important thing is checking the little tubes that come out behind each one of these knobs that services each of those burner tubes. It can build up debris in there, and you can build up spider webs in there, of all things, that'll block the gas flow. And what will happen is people will turn their grill on, they'll walk away from it, which we don't recommend you do. And that that gas blows back out the front and eventually catches fire, and it starts the knobs on fire. And we see people get burned or injured trying to shut those knobs off in a hurry when they should just go over and shut the fuel source off. So before you fire up the grill for the season, if you haven't already done it this year, check those tubes out, make sure everything's working right. Make sure an animal didn't make a nest underneath there that's going to catch fire. You can't see it from this shot, but we're more than 10 feet away from the building. We want all grills, no matter what the fuel, they got to be at least 10 feet away from any combustible construction. And combustible construction means your wood deck. We're on a cement pad here so that we can, if there's something goes wrong, it's not going to spread to the house and burn other things. We don't want to see these used on the deck, nor do we want to see the wood burning little fireplaces. Just over the weekend, again, we had a fire, deck fire in the back of a house. One of our off-going firefighters that was leaving for the day, he happened to see some smoke. He investigated it, found out the people's deck was on fire in the back of their house, spreading to their house, and was able to alert them and get them out and get us over there to put the fire out. But it was one of those grills or little burning units that people buy and they think they're okay to put on a deck. Don't put those on your deck. They start lots of fires for us.
And so you mentioned earlier, as you were talking about doing routine checks on your propane tanks, if it's been since last summer or even longer since someone has used a propane tank, but they know that the tank is presumably still mostly full, is it safe to use that propane tank, or should they either A, get it checked and or replaced before they use it this summer season?
It's likely safe to use that tank, but what you have to do is check all those connections. As the temperature rises and falls, those connections can heat up and cool down and they loosen. So making sure it's tight, making sure the hoses are still intact and not cracked. Those are early season fires that we see where gas is leaking out from either a connection at the tank or one of the hoses that's cracked. You light the grill thinking everything's fine, and eventually that gas works its way up to the flame and then burns back to its source, and we have a grill on fire. It's a very common one. Thanks for that question. And other things we see is people putting these in their garage. Do not put a grill. If it's raining out, maybe don't grill that day, but don't put these in the garage. We see a handful of fires every summer from people putting their grills into their garage from any fuel source, whether it's propane or charcoal. It's a bad idea to bring it inside the home.
We're joined by Dave DeBoer, Deputy Fire Marshal in West Bloomfield Township, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. And Dave, as you mentioned earlier on, if there is an issue with your grill, if your grill has begun to combust, you want to, of course, go to the fuel source itself and cut off that fuel source. That would, in this case, in the case of a propane grill be the propane tank itself. After an incident like that, what's the next step that you should take? You cut off the fuel source. Obviously, you do what you need to do to extinguish the fire, or you call the authorities to extinguish the fire. But what are those next steps to ensure that you can safely grill on your property from there on?
Yep, absolutely. The first step is safely turn it off. If you can safely turn it off, do so. If you can't safely do it, then get away from it, get everybody else away from it, and certainly call 911. Our dispatchers will get the fire department on the way, and our guys can come put it out. It's good to have things around. Maybe if you're grilling, maybe have that garden hose nearby and have it just turned on so that it's near. It won't necessarily put out the propane side of things, but it will knock down those flames and keep them from spreading, hopefully, so we can get there and safely reach in there with our fire gear on that allows us to reach in and shut those fuel sources off. So having a few things around, just things that make it easier. Even the grills with the side burners on them where people are cooking bacon, if they can have a grease fire. Have that lid, just like you would in the house, have the lid around so that you can put that lid on there and put that grease fire out.
We're joined by Dave DeBoer. He's the Deputy Fire Marshal in West Bloomfield Township, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. And it's the summer season. The kids are home from school. Often that's a time for learning opportunities at home, including learning how to grill. When parents are teaching their children how to grill, what are some safety tips to protect their kids? Obviously, you want the parent to be the one that's primarily in control of the grill as they're teaching, but what are some tips to protect the kids from injuries or other situations with a grill?
One of the biggest ones is making sure that they're appropriate age and size to be able to show them and start teaching those lessons, and make sure you're teaching them how to use things safely, using the right utensils, using things safely, having plates out here to set things on, having even oven mitts that they make for grills now to hold stuff. But have that stuff out. What we don't want is we don't want to see the little guys that are this big trying to look at a grill. It's just not going to work right, and they're going to try to lean into it or maybe even pull towards it, and they could have a problem there. So, they got to be age appropriate, big enough to operate that thing, and don't leave them alone operating it. They are kids after all, and they're going to do kid things. Again, even adults shouldn't be letting these things burn without somebody there and present. We do all sorts of test fires, and we can show that cooking fires, there's lots of signals, and there's 2 or 3 minutes of time where that fire in that grill is telling you that something's going wrong, that you can intervene before the fire starts when it comes to the grease and some of the other stuff. So if you have somebody there that keeps their eye on it, you won't go wrong.
We're joined by Dave DeBoer. He is the Deputy Fire Marshal in West Bloomfield Township, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. And so, Dave, you mentioned all these great tips for grilling at home at your house, but for those that are living in apartments, you mentioned earlier that 10-foot rule generally for keeping your grill away from your home. For those that are living in apartments, often they are barred by their apartment complex, by their lease agreement, and even by local law to grill on that property. What is the reason for some of these laws, and what sort of hazards are there for those that don't obey by these rules and then go and grill on their balconies at their apartments?
That's a great question, Tyler, and I'm glad you brought it up. Whenever you live in a multi-tenant building, whether it's a condo, apartment building, anything where you have multiple homes stuck together, by virtue of choosing to live there, you give up some of your freedoms that you would have in your single family home, that you could put your grill where you want. That speaks to the fire code, which, like you say, is law here in West Bloomfield Township. The fire code says you can't have those on your balconies. One, the balconies are probably combustible. Most of them are around here. Some first floor units, the apartment complexes can have a cement pad that comes out as far as this one does, and you can have it on a cement pad. But something that people don't about when it comes to grilling, most of us use propane grills. And the big danger is taking that propane tank through the building. Propane acts differently than natural gas. Natural gas goes up and away, it's lighter than air. Propane settles and goes to the lowest point. If you have a propane tank in your apartment or in a basement storage unit of an apartment and it leaks, it's going to fill that space with that gas, and then find a ignition source somewhere in there, and it's going to result in quite a fire, and sometimes even if it's confined enough, an explosion, which we see from time to time on the news. We don't want that propane tank or those fuel sources passing through those buildings, or even being, more particularly being stored in those buildings.
We're joined by Dave Zabor, Deputy Fire Marshal in West Bloomfield Township, with us on the Megacast. Dave, is beginning of fireworks season as well as we approach the 4th of July holiday, and so people are not only participating in fireworks shows on the local level, they are also igniting some of their own personal use fireworks as well. What are some tips for those that are igniting fireworks themselves to keep themselves and those around them also safe?
Yep. The personal use fireworks, the most important thing, and the thing that we see violated the most here in West Bloomfield, is if you ignite something, it has to be on your property. It has to land on your property. You cannot light fireworks in the middle of the neighborhood street. You cannot do it from a township park or a school or a church parking lot or synagogue parking lot. You must have control of that fireworks, and it must both ignite and land on your property, which for a lot of people in West Bloomfield, we don't have big enough lots for people to do that safely. So our best recommendation is the safest fireworks show is the one that you go see at one of our many shows on the lakes or in the area. Let the professionals do that. Something to keep in mind is over 9,000 people are going to be injured each year from fireworks. And you hear us talk about it every year. We bring up the sparklers, and people think sparklers aren't that dangerous. Well, sparklers burn at 1,200 degrees. They're capable of welding metal. So it's a high temperature. Of the 9,000 or more people that are going to visit the ER with burns related to fireworks this year, over a quarter of them are going to be because of just sparklers themselves. Sparklers are actually the most frequently used fireworks that can injure somebody. But the other ones, we're seeing a lot of them. Over the weekend, we had a construction site fire because somebody was shooting fireworks in their neighborhood. They were lighting it in the streets, letting it go up, and it wasn't landing back where it should. And through that process, they lit a construction site on fire. So it's a real danger. It's a danger we face here in West Bloomfield. The other thing to think about is your disposal of the fireworks once they're done. A lot of people think once they're done and over with, after they've cooled for a few minutes, they're done. We see fires every year from people scooping up that trash, putting the trash into a plastic garbage can up against their house, and then it later ignites after people have gone to bed and lights the house on fire. We typically have one or two of those fires every season. We'd like to prevent them because we don't want people to be burned out of their house. We don't want people to face all those challenges related to having a fire at your home.
So then what is the proper way to dispose of those fireworks? If you shouldn't put them immediately into your trash can and put that trash can near or inside your home in some capacity, what should you do?
Great question. Do what the professionals do. Have a 5-gallon bucket of water there and soak them in that bucket of water. Keep that bucket out away from the house and let them soak for overnight. And then you can pull them out the next day, dry them off, and then throw them in your garbage. But that way you don't have a problem. And that's literally what our professionals do. When we have a misfire on one of our shows, the professionals take that device out because it's no longer safe for them to transport back to their buildings, and they'll drop it right in the water and let it soak. And that way there's nothing that can go wrong with it.
We're joined by Dave Zabor. He is the Deputy Fire Marshal in West Bloomfield Township, joining us on the Michigan Megacast, going back and continuing on the fireworks discussion. In Michigan, there are laws on what times of the year fireworks are allowed to be ignited for personal use, and even for some of these shows. It's usually related to the 4th of July holiday. What are those general rules and those periods of time where fireworks are legal to be lit off, not only on the state level, but also locally in your township in West Bloomfield?
Locally here in West Bloomfield and in the Tri-Cities, this year it's from the 29th to the 4th of July, from 11 a.m. to 11:45 each night. Fireworks are allowed. They're allowed the 3rd and 4th of September for the Labor Day weekend, again till 11:45 at night. And then on New Year's Eve, you're allowed to go up to 1 a.m. on New Year's Eve. Those are the only days that it's legal to light fireworks. So anybody lighting them at this time of the year or any time in this month before the 29th is technically violating that state law that says there's certain times when you can do that.
More information can be found by consulting with your local fire department, your local city, township, village, or municipality, or by visiting Michigan.gov as well. We're joined by Dave DeBoer. He's the Deputy Fire Marshal in West Bloomfield Township, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Any other summer fire issues or summer hazards that we haven't discussed today, Dave, that would be important for our audience to keep in consideration this summer?
One of the biggest ones, we're obviously a lakes community, and we love our lakes and enjoy the activities that they bring us. We would ask people to be mindful of your activities out on the water. Be careful. Don't overexert yourself. Stay hydrated. Don't be drinking and driving on the boats. It ends in tragedy. Every year we see it. And it's really one of those completely preventable tragedies that we see. So while you're out there, enjoy yourself, have fun, enjoy the great nature that we have here in West Bloomfield, but do it safe and do it sober.
Dave, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it. Of course, if you have an emergency at your home, we encourage you to call 911, but in the meantime, you can prevent those emergencies by following some of this advice from the West Bloomfield Fire Department, as well as your own local fire department as well. If you have any questions, of course, contact them on their non-emergency number and ask those questions before you go get in front of your grill, and certainly before you light off those fireworks in your local area. We're going to take a break on the Michigan Megacast. On the other side, we'll head to Ann Arbor and preview this year's Ann Arbor Art Fair with Angela Klein. That's up next on the Michigan Megacast.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council,
we work together to protect water resources for everyone.
Most of the pollution entering our rivers is carried by rainwater that runs off roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
A rain garden helps catch stormwater runoff.
Rain gardens and their plants help dirty runoff soak into the ground.
You can do your part to help keep our water clean.
Learn about rain gardens and native plants.
So consider a rain garden in your home landscaping.
Catch the runoff with a rain garden.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
A message from the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here
for you. Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation. Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crime-victim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you did. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Welcome back Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. To learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com by clicking on our Megacast link, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now is Angela Klein. She is the Executive Director of Ann Arbor's Art Fair, which will take place July 21st through 23rd of this year. Angela, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So it's slated for the art fair, slated for Thursday, July 21st through Saturday, July 23rd. We will be featuring some special interviews with featured street art fair artists throughout that week and leading up to that. And today we kick off the interviews with you, the new executive director. Can you tell us about your role at the Ann Arbor Street Art Fair and how putting this art fair together in this particular year is similar to years past, but different because of the situation that we're in, starting to come out of this COVID-19 crisis?
Well, we're thrilled to be back, really in full force. We're back and ready to go, and excited to bring all the things that we brought in 2019. The fair was reduced in 2021, but now it's back in full force. So we're very excited to be back, really.
And this is a significant yearly annual event in Ann Arbor, the art fair. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Ann Arbor Art Fair and how that helps to inform bringing this back to full force in 2022?
Well, it was in the late 1950s. We've been around a long time. So the business owners came to the Ann Arbor Artists Association with the idea of the artists hanging work at the bargain days. And then it was such, they partnered with the Handweavers Guild and the Potters Guild, and it was such an enormous hit. I think even students were able to pay tuition for the fall semester, the artists that had participated. And now, and then in 1967, that added the Summer Art Fair and the State Street Art Fair. And now we operate under the umbrella of the Ann Arbor Art Fair. It's one event and 3 fairs with all of our, our own vibe for each fair. And bringing it back to present day is what we're all about. It's a lot of fun, and we can't wait to bring it to the people in July.
We're joined by Angela Klein, the Executive Director of the Ann Arbor Original Street Art Fair, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on their website, artfair.org. It is artfair.org to learn more information and keep up to date with the Ann Arbor Original Street Art Fair as we approach its running date this summer of Thursday, July 21st through Saturday, July 23rd in the city of Ann Arbor. And so, like many other art shows we have around the state over the course of the spring and the summer and early parts of the fall, many of them will say that they are a juried art show. There's very specific guidelines in order to be declared a juried art show. Can you give us the details on that, what it takes for an art show such as the one in Ann Arbor this July to be considered a juried show?
So each of, there's the original art fair, which is I'm the executive director of, and we each have our own mission and parameters for our juried, we're a juried nonprofit, each one of us. So for us, I can speak to that. We have a jury advisory board. We have jurors from the University of Michigan to the Henry Ford, and where artists can send in, my apologies, where artists can send in their work and their slides, and it will be juried, and then it's a competitive process. And we are one of the most competitive juried art fairs in the country. About 30% of the artists that apply get into the show, and we're very proud of the work that we show.
So you mentioned that there are 3 art fairs throughout the year that consist of the Ann Arbor Art Fair, or consider themselves under the umbrella of the Ann Arbor Art Fair. Are there any differences between those 3 shows or the other 2 shows in comparison to this one that's usually held in the summer?
I'm sorry, are you asking the difference between our 3 shows under the art fair? Okay. Yes. Well, they're all amazing. They all have wonderful, artists and energy. For the original art fair, we have, not only do we have work by 200 artists, but the work is also we don't allow, if you think of the original art fair, we only allow original art. There are no reproductions. We are also on the campus of the university, so we're surrounded in that green space with the beautiful architecture. The summer fair is, work that is juried by artists for artists. This is a really wonderful event. You're going to see paintings and sculptures and everything you can imagine, and such a beautiful energy there. And then if you go to the State Street, it's this great eclectic mix of vendors and, food and art. And, you have to try not to spend your full salary on the jewelry that you're going to see there. And it's just a great space and great energy.
We're joined by Angela Klein, the executive director of the original Ann Arbor Street Fair, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. There's more information on the Street Fair by visiting their website at artfair.org. That is artfair.org, and the dates for the Ann Arbor Street Fair this summer are July 21st through 23rd. That's Thursday, July 21st until Saturday, July 23rd. And again, more information is on their website at artfair.org. And so, Angela, how many artists will be at the fair this summer? How many different kinds of art can people expect to be able to explore and purchase at the Ann Arbor Art Fair?
Right. So there'll be nearly 1,000 artists. Wow. And everything from ceramics to fibers to mixed media, painting, every class of art will be represented. And, I've been coming to this fair for almost 30 years now. So I am not only a buyer, but I am a mother. So I love showing my children this work and how artists not only create something, they bring it all the way to this event for you to see and meet them. And then as an art buyer, you can buy that artwork, have it in your home, and have something so inspiring for your children to see what it takes, like grit and determination and belief in yourself. So here you have this beautiful work of art that you get to enjoy and be inspired by and inspire your children. So not only am I the executive director, but I am a patron and a believer in the Ann Arbor Art Fair for many, many years.
So then for you, taking over this role as the executive director of the Ann Arbor Art Fair and running this show, running this art fair this summer and going forward, what does that mean for you as someone that is an appreciator of art and someone with a personal connection to this specific fair?
Well, it's such an honor. When Maureen Riley, she's the former director and now she's the current artist coordinator of the original art fair, but what an honor to learn from her and to take over this role. I'm incredibly proud. As you can see, probably the artwork behind me, I purchased at the Ann Arbor Art Fair. It's the artist Lynn Whipple. And so this is something that I have every year have attended the art fair. I was on the board of directors 10 years ago and have enjoyed not only being a patron, but someone who just follows along the art fair to see what's going to happen next. So I'm excited to be a part of it now.
We're joined by Angela Klein, the executive director of the Ann Arbor Original Art Fair, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on their website, artfair.org, to keep up to date and explore some of the artists that will be attending this year's art fair and have their art on display and up for purchase at the original Ann Arbor Art Fair, July 21st through 23rd in Ann Arbor. And so you mentioned earlier, Angela, that there's going to be over 1,000 artists that will be participating in the art fair this summer. How much space is that occupying in the city of Ann Arbor? Just how much will people just in proximity in that city be able to explore?
Well, it's 30 blocks. Wow. And, thank you to the city of Ann Arbor, to the DDA, to Destination Ann Arbor, to really making all of this possible, along with my other fair directors, Karen Delhay and Francis Todoro. So we all work together to joyfully take over the city of Ann Arbor and make it the largest outdoor art gallery. I've often told people it's like the Louvre. You don't want to explore it all in one day. It's best if you go to annarbor.org and find a hotel and maybe explore for 2 days, have a little lunch in between and go to each section of the fair and enjoy each section individually.
Yeah, you got 3 days there. You got the 21st, the 22nd, and the 23rd. So come back multiple times. We encourage you to do that. At the Ann Arbor Original Street Art Fair this July 21st through 23rd. More information on their website, artfair.org. We're joined by the Executive Director of the Ann Arbor Original Street Art Fair, Angela Klein, on the Megacast. And it's not just art at this show. What are some of the other experiences that patrons of the art fair will be able to experience this summer?
Really the full culture of Ann Arbor and more. The stages alone, we have the stage on Main, which will be featuring the music from the Arc, and it's presented by DTE. We have the Fountain Stage on the original Art Fair footprint. And on the Fountain Stage, we have all acoustic acts all day and some of the best music in the city. And then we have Mr. B, he's been with us, Mark Braun. He's a boogie woogie piano player, and he has been with us. Really, he's the soundtrack to our art fair for the past 30 years, and this will be his last year. So we're really going to celebrate him. And then we have the Ann Arbor Artist Civics Theater on the State Street footprint. So there's so much to explore in terms of music, and then in terms of food. As you know, Ann Arbor food is unbelievable. I mean, I've been to all around the world, and I compare food from when I was in Paris to food that I could get in Ann Arbor. I'm like, it's almost as good as Ann Arbor food. So you'll go from Zingerman's to Pacific Rim to J Garden. I mean, even a sandwich at the Ann Arbor Art Fair is the best sandwich you'll ever have.
Yeah, and it's 30 blocks, this entire show. So there's surrounding area all around. There's so much different things you can experience both in the art fair proper, but also just in the city of Ann Arbor. And so talk about that connection too. You mentioned that you thank the city and the DDA for supporting this art fair and providing that kind of space. Just what kind of connection does this art fair have with the culture of Ann Arbor, especially in the summer where Michigan tourism really amps into high gear?
Yeah. So because we partner with Destination Ann Arbor and Pure Michigan, we really try to incorporate every facet of Ann Arbor culture in this art fair so that there's something literally for everyone. If you are a lover of food, even if you are a lover of sports, you are going to find something at this event.
We're joined by Angela Klein, the Executive Director of the Ann Arbor Original Street Art Fair, which will occur this summer, Thursday, July 21st until Saturday, July 23rd. More information is on their website at artfair.org. That is artfair.org to keep up to date and learn more information. You can also find them on Twitter at A2 Street Art Fair and on Facebook as well at facebook.com/artfair, or just go to their website. You can also click over to their social media there at artfair.org to keep up to date and learn more information. Angela, another couple minutes with you before we'll say goodbye. At this time, anything else that we haven't spoken about that would be interesting or important for our audience to know about the Ann Arbor Original Street Art Fair that will be occurring this summer, or other topics that we haven't discussed?
Well, I would love to make sure that everyone knows that they can go to the Ann Arbor Art Fair .com so that they can see all the information about each fair, and about if they are an artist that's interested in applying, they can look at each section of the fair and see what works best for them and their work. And they can always reach out to any one of us, any one of the directors at the fairs, if they have questions about how to apply.
And those websites again, that website again is at artfair.org or AnnArborArtFair.com.
So artfair.org, artfair.org is my fair, the original street art fair. And then if you go to the AnnArborArtFair.com, that has all three fairs listed in the whole umbrella of the Ann Arbor Art Fair, so that you'll have all the information you need. And then if you're looking for hotels or food, you want to go to AnnArbor.org.
Thank you, Angela, for your time. Appreciate you joining us to tell us more about the Ann Arbor Art Fair. Again, that is July 21st through 23rd this year. Learn more information on theAnnArborArtFair.com. We're going to take a break on the Megacast. When we come back, we'll be talking to one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. That's up next on the Megacast.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
As partners working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is a source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line, for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
If you are struggling to afford internet service for your household, there's a new government program that may be able to help. It's called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and it provides up to a $30 monthly discount to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/ACP or call toll-free at 877-384-2575. That's 877-384-2575.
The Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission has more information. Visit gwbcable.org.
To Sophia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
72.7% of high school students get less than the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. This can cause pain, obesity, and can very negatively affect your mental health. When you have a consistent 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day, you get sick less often, lose more weight, and have better relationships with those around you. For more information about the dangers of sleep deprivation, go to sleepfoundation.org. This message is brought to you by the WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
If you are struggling to afford internet service for your household, there's a new government program that may be able to help. It's called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and it provides up to a $30 monthly discount to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/ACP or call toll-free at 877-384-2575. That's 877-384-2575.
The Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission has more information. Visit gwbcable.org.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
It's the Great Lakes water. And so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes, they stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. To learn more about the program by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com and clicking on our Megacast link, where you'll find more information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now is Erilyn McCullough. She is the founder of Erilyn's House of Hope, which is one of 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Shared Detroit platform. Erilyn, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. Thank you for joining us. Let's talk about your organization, Erilyn's House of Hope. Can you tell us what services and programs that your organization provides in the local area?
Currently, we provide gift baskets to patients that have had liver transplants, mainly at Henry Ford Hospital, where I received my liver transplant 11 years ago. And after visiting a transplant house in Atlanta, I was inspired to do this because I volunteer with a group called Transplant Living Community at the hospital.
And so those experiences, they inspired you to create this organization and to create some of the services also, establish some of the services that are provided by your organization. What are some of those services and just how important are they to someone who has undergone a transplant?
It will be very important. I am working towards establishing a physical house for transplant patients and their caregivers to reside in. It will be similar to a Ronald McDonald House, but it will be for organ transplant recipients. Many people travel from across the state to receive their transplants, and often you're called at the last minute and you haven't been able to make any arrangements unless you are lucky enough to have a living donor and everything is planned. But you're called, you're told to be at the hospital at a certain time, and it happens that day. And many times families have trouble finding a place to stay, an affordable place to stay. And a lot of times caregivers are isolated. It may be only one caregiver that comes with the patient, and they're isolated. They're alone in a place that is unknown to them. So I believe that this house will be a very good resource for patients and their caregivers.
We're joined by Erilyn McCullough. She is the founder of Erilyn's House of Hope, joining us on the Megacast. More information can be found on ErilynsHouseOfHope.org. That is ErilynsHouseOfHope.org, or by visiting ShareDetroit.org, where her organization, as well as 299 additional charities and nonprofits in the Detroit area, are visible on their website. Go to their Find a Nonprofits section and simply search Erilyn's House of Hope to learn more information about obviously their website, but also ways you can support, volunteer opportunities, items that may be of necessity to this organization at any given time, and more information. ShareDetroit.org is where you will find all of that. And so for Erilyn, for those that are interested in these services for themselves, knowing that they're going to be having a transplant soon, or for a loved one who has had a transplant or will have a transplant soon, how can they go about getting access to these services and programs?
Just like you said, going to the website, and we have resources on the website as well of different organizations that may assist you with your needs. The Kidney Foundation, Gift of Life Michigan, Gift of Life MOTEP, different organizations that may assist you with your needs during this time of transplant. So you can go to the website, and there is a resource page.
We're joined by Erilyn McCullough. She is the founder of Erilyn's House of Hope, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information, again, at ShareDetroit.org or ErilynsHouseOfHope.org as well. Their direct website, ErilynsHouseOfHope.org, for more information. At this time, there's so many different ways that people can help a nonprofit organization or a charity do the work that they do in the community. What are the best ways at this moment in time that people can support Erilyn's House of Hope and the mission and the services that it provides to so many people?
Spreading the word and going on our website. There is a donation page there, so you can donate monetarily, or you can donate to help fill the baskets for the patients. Try to give a basket to patients after they've had their transplant. Visit them in their hospital rooms and give them a patient with some things to do that may take their mind off the overall stress of having a transplant. Just give them, adult coloring books, a cup with different tips on it, on things that they need to do to keep themselves healthy and safe after they've received this mighty gift of life.
Erilyn, earlier you mentioned that you'd like to at some point establish a physical house that you can provide these services to and provide housing to transplant recipients as well as their caregivers in the future, kind of along the lines that you mentioned of a Ronald McDonald House. Where is your organization at this time in achieving that goal, or how far away is your organization from achieving that goal, and how can the community help?
We're looking for donations. We're looking for, somebody to make a monetary donation to purchase a house, some land, a house that someone has that needs to be rehabbed, anything like that. The house hopefully will be located somewhere in the central Detroit area near Henry Ford Hospital, and maybe access to other transplant centers such as Beaumont. But so any monetary donation or donation of a house or land in that area would definitely be an asset to this program.
I would imagine it's very tough to provide these services to people just by yourself or just with a small team. What sort of role do volunteers play in making the Erilyn's House of Hope mission come to a reality and these services be viable for these transplant recipients?
We're going to need plenty of, when we actually have a physical house, we would love to have people to come and help, maybe prepare meals for the families. That would be wonderful if somebody could come in. Entertainment, somebody come in and, take their mind off this stressful situation and maybe entertain guests. Offer rides to maybe the local grocery store or movie theater, things like that, just to give people a respite, things that would help to give people some respite, assistance, guidance on how you get to point A to point B in an unfamiliar location, things like that.
More information can be found on sharedetroit.org as well as on ErilynsHouseOfHope.org. Also, we're joined by Erilyn McCullough. She is the founder of Erilyn's House of Hope, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Again, more information on sharedetroit.org as well as ErilynsHouseOfHope.org also. And so, Erilyn, the services that you provide are so critical to those that have been through a transplant. For those that are not familiar with the process of going through a transplant, in your case it was a liver transplant, and all the care and all the upkeep that goes on afterward, just how extensive is that, and why does that aftercare and after treatment make these services so important to people that undergo transplants?
It's very important. Once you're released from the hospital, for my personal stay, I was in the hospital for 6 days, but I did live near the hospital, so there was no problem for me to stay at home. But after you're released, approximately 2 days after you're released from the hospital, you have to return, and you will have 2 appointments per week for the first month. So if you reside an hour away, you may not want to make that trip. You may want to stay close. And many patients that live a distance from the hospital, if you live an hour or 2 or 3 hours away, you may not want to make that long journey, especially after having such a major surgery. So it's many patients stay near the hospital, and it can become costly as well as isolating for the patient or their caregivers. So it's really important. You're back there, and you're back there early in the morning for blood work as well as seeing the doctor. Like I said, that's twice a week for the first month, and possibly more. You may have to have some type of procedure right after the transplant. So you may be there more frequently. So it's really important that they have a supportive, comforting place to stay after, where they're not isolated and alone.
Erilyn, through your organization, what other additional resources, in addition to the services that Erilyn's House of Hope provides, it also provides information and resources to transplant recipients and their families and their loved ones. What sort of resources are available to them, and how can those resources be of help to these individuals in navigating their pre- and post-transplant experience?
all the organizations that are listed on the website that can support you, give you information about things that you need to do, things that you need to think about both before and after transplant. Just help you navigate the road to transplant that you may not get from a medical standpoint. So it's really important to know that there is a team of people, the Kidney Foundation, like I said, Gift of Life, that will support you and can help you understand this very, very lengthy and difficult process.
We're joined by Erilyn McCullough. She is the founder of Erilyn's House of Hope, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information can be found in a couple of places. ShareDetroit.org, where Erilyn's House of Hope is one of 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. You can also find them directly on their website, ErilynsHouseOfHope.org. That's ErilynsHouseOfHope.org, and they are also on Facebook, Facebook.com/Erilyn's House of Hope for more information. Erilyn, just another few minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Any more information on your organization, the services it provides, or other critical info that we haven't touched on today that would be important for our audience to know?
I would tell everybody to check out my website for all the different resources and get that heart sticker on your driver's license because we never know when ourselves or family member will be in need of an organ. And it's so important to have that heart sticker on your driver's license. A way to pay it forward after, you're no longer there, or even sign up to be a living donor. It's really, really critical and much needed.
Yeah, very, very important for those that are in need of these transplants to have these resources be available, and you can, while you're still alive and even after your passing, save lives. And so we can do that on a community effort. That's another way that we can support Erilyn's House of Hope's mission, is by helping others by joining the Organ Donor Registry, which you can do when you renew your driver's license or at any of your Secretary of State's offices. More information at mi.gov/SOS. Erilyn, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. It's much, much appreciated. Thank you so much.
More information on ErilynsHouseOfHope.org and on ShareDetroit.org. We're going to take one final break, very quick break. We'll come back, review some of our resources, and wrap up today's edition of the Oakland County and the Michigan Megacasts.
If you are struggling to afford internet service for your household, there's a new government program that may be able to help. It's called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and it provides up to a $30 monthly discount to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/ACP, or call toll-free at 877-384-2575. That's 877-384-2575.
The Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission has more information. Visit gwbcable.org.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
If you are struggling to afford internet service for your household, there's a new government program that may be able to help. It's called the Affordable Connectivity Program, and it provides up to a $30 monthly discount to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/ACP, or call toll-free at 877-384-2575. That's 877-384-2575.
The Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission has more information. Visit gwbcable.org.
people are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Keith. We thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Oakland County and the Michigan Megacasts. That is going to do it for this Tuesday edition of the Megacast. As always, you can find more information and keep up to date with us on demand on CivicCenterTV.com's Megacast page, where you'll find information on all of our partnering stations and find all of our programs and find our interviews on demand as well. Big thank you to all of our guests who joined us on today's edition of the program, as well as our crew that makes this show possible every single day. Calvin Brown, our technical director, with me in the studio here. Jared Clark, our Zoom producer at the office of My Michigan TV, and the king of television, Larry Nyland, our producer, also helping us on and off the air. On My, Steve Lato Live is coming up next, followed by Larry and Ronnie Live. Will return on Wednesday morning with another new edition of the Oakland County and Michigan Megacasts. Keeping Greater West Bloomfield connected during the coronavirus pandemic. 89.3 WBLD, Orchard Lake, West Bloomfield. Kegel Harbor, Sylvan Lake. 89.3 Lakes FM.